Hmm. Hello, guys. Good day, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you're streaming from. Okay, last week was good for us, but I did take a loss for last week. And last 2 weeks it was good. It was a profitable week for me. But last week was not really profitable for me because I was down 1%. So this week all we were looking at will be very very simple and precise on this particular video. So first thing first, we go to our Forex Factory and we go to today's date, which is the 18th of May, and click on more. So tomorrow we can see that there's actually a bank holiday for CAD, and there's literally nothing happening tomorrow except for CHF. This week is not really the week where you see high impact news on dollar. On dollar, we just have this PMI and manufacturing PMI as well, unemployment claims. That was on Thursday. Then any USD, no more USD. So this week is quite okay for us to trade, since there is still news in the week. We can still literally trade the week. We can see that we have CAD, AUD, GBP, and the rest. So this week it might literally look really, really interesting for we to trade. So let's go on our charts, and starting from the monthly time frame. Like what I marked here earlier on, that we definitely see reaction from this yearly fair value gap, and so you can see there's a good reaction. So far so good. We're about creating a monthly fair value gap to the downside, but regardless, we don't know yet if it's going to create it or not going to create it, because as you can see, there are fair value gaps to the upside now, fair value gaps to the downside. The monthly, you just trade the lower time frame order flow. So let's come back to our weekly. What is our weekly doing? We can see that there is a weekly fair value gap here, and this weekly fair value gap is created from this previous week fair value gap. So there's kind of like an order flow leg to the downside. So as you can see, let me zoom in a little bit. Now delete this. We can see that, okay, now this week candle is closing above this candle. It seems like a good thing, but the caveat to it is that we're having huge rejection from the upside. This is huge week. This is not good for me if I want to be looking at higher prices. I would not want this to show here. But regardless, we go down to the lower time frame and see what the lower time frame is actually telling us on the dollar. So this is the lower time frame. So what did I write here? Oh, sorry. So as we can see, previous week low, if the 4H continue order flow to the downside, we might see more lower prices at least to this low. So if we see order flow to the downside more, we can still see prices coming down to this previous week low. Depends on how the 4 hour actually turns out. Because right now we're actually sitting on this fair value gap. Let me zoom in. We're actually sitting on this fair value gap. And the fair value gap is giving this huge rejection candle. So this is a rejection low, and now price is inside this range. So we go down to our 4 hour time frame. Since there is a huge move coming down to our fair value gap, if we want to take trade from this place, we tend to look for what will I say 4 hour fair value gap to the upside. So the 4 hour fair value gap to the upside now, we say sweep of this low and giving a fair value gap to the upside. Price swept this low, giving this fair value gap to the upside. So I'll delete this first. And now what can we see in price? Sweeping the swing high. So price is actually respecting the swing high, coming into this fair value gap and this fair value area. Delete this. We need more confirmation from this fair value gap. So it's simple as that. What we can see now, this setup now is that price actually swept this low, giving a fair value gap, but in regards sweeping the swing high. So we don't know if this sweep can create another fair value gap to continue lower, or this fair value gap and this fair value area is going to hold. So what are we going to do? What we're going to do is pretty simple. Instead of we jumping down to our 15 minutes, taking a trade from here, I'll sit on a 1 hour time frame and look for a 1 hour impulse shift from this fair value gap to the upside. And that will signal that, okay, definitely we'll go in higher for dollar. So if we're going higher, definitely we'll be selling our majors. That's AUD, USD, GBP, Euro, USD, and whatnot. So we go down to our ES. ES is literally nice though. We've been calling this highs for like how many weeks now? No, it's on NQ. Look at these highs. We've been calling these highs on NQ for since last 2, 3, 4 weeks ago. We said, okay, since if you should go down to the daily, it's quite clear in the daily. I said, if price closed above this PO high, what we'll be looking for just higher prices to this high. And as you can see, since price closed above it, what we're just saying is just higher prices. Price coming down again, coming down to this fair value gap, giving higher prices down to this level. It's kind of like a nice delivery though. But we can still look at higher prices at least to this high or probably next swing high. But that being the case, let's look at AUD USD, AUD USD, Euro USD. We can see now that price closed below previous week low. It's just like when you invert the dollar, that is Euro USD. When you're inverting dollar, it's just as Euro USD. So the EU, I'm expecting lower prices, but that depends on what the dollar is doing. So EU now, I'm expecting lower prices. The reason why I'm expecting lower prices is because, as you can see, price tends to come into this weekly fair value gap and fair value area. And our two candle rejection, you can see that the previous week candle actually closed with a body close below last week low. That is last 2 weeks low. So this is signaling that we might still move lower. At least we can use this week as a first target. That is this week. You can use this week as first target and see what price does. So if you should go down to daily time frame, what is the daily time frame showing us? We can see that price literally came into this fair value area with the fair value gap and given this reaction to the upside. And I don't think price literally have a fair value gap here, but we can see this huge week here. But if we go down to the 4-hour time frame, we can see it very clear. So this is a 4-hour time frame. The 4-hour time frame, price. People will say, I don't like trading this fair value gap because it's coming from nowhere. No, it's not literally coming from nowhere though. It's literally coming from somewhere in the 4-hour time frame. It's coming from, you see, it's coming from this swing guy. See the swing guy here, right? Market swept the swing guy, creating a fair value gap to the downside. It's actually a good thing. And we see this huge retracement to the upside. The reason why we're having this huge retracement to the upside is because price is reacting from this fair value gap, this unmitigated fair value gap. The price came into the fair value gap and give higher prices. But regardless, off of this fair value gap, market created another fair value gap with this swing low aligning with it. So price is giving more of bearish prices now in euro dollar. But we will tend to trade this, depends on what dollar does. And if the dollar should be going up, I don't need to seek more confirmation from this place because you can see price is not respecting any previous PD array. Like you can see this 4-hour fair value gap now, for example. Price is not respecting it. Price is not come in and and this fair value gap already. You see this fair value gap. We can't say price is reacting further because this fair value gap has already been mitigated with this week here. Let me show you. Yeah, this week has already mitigated the fair value gap. So this fair value gap is mitigated already, so we're not using it. The only one that is unmitigated is this one, and I'm not looking to buy from here. This can serve as potential retracement. So this right here, if you go to your 1-hour time frame, there's no fair value gap to the upside. This fair value gap to the upside is already mitigated already, so we can safely jump down to the 15 minutes time frame and look for a 15 minutes impulse shift from this place if the dollar decides to go up. That is pretty it for. The pound seems strong. I'm not trading the pounds. If the dollar is coming down, pounds is good to go up because the pound currently is stronger than the Euro USD. NZD. So let me just show you this before I end the video. Yeah. So AUD card seems interesting. Why am I saying that? Because there's a previous week high. We can see that price actually swept the previous week high with this huge week over there. Go to your daily time frame. The daily time frame, you can see that too corrective. This is just too corrective for me. If we see signal for lower prices, we go for sales. If there is good signal for lower prices, sales will be good. Target all this price action. this chain liquidity. So go to your 4-hour time frame. What's 4-hour time frame doing? We can see that there is a fair value gap here. So what can we see here? You can see that the first candle coming into the fair value gap still respect. Second candle actually swept the previous candle and closed inside the range. And now we can see that, okay, this is a rejection candle. If we have a body close below this rejection candle, we might look for lower prices for the AUD card. So AUD card is potential pair for next week to watch for lower prices in the pair. AUD CHF, almost same thing. Weekly, swept previous week high. Go to the daily time frame. What's the daily time frame doing? Now you can see there's a fair value gap here, lower time frame. So people will say this fair value gap came from nowhere, but no, it actually came from somewhere because it actually swept previous week high and created a fair value gap. So this fair value gap now, we might want to see more confirmation. Why do I want to see more confirmation? Because price is literally reacting from this fair value gap. Let me show you guys. This one here. Price is reacting from here. So this can be a way for price to move further. If we want to trade from this place, we tend to look at, because the current order flow leg is from this low to this high. So we might look for higher prices if price gives 4-hour fair value gap to the upside, 2 4-hour fair value gap, chain fair value gap to the upside. Of the daily, currently it's just 50-50. So if we want to continue downwards, we might look for 4-hour fair value gap from this daily fair value gap. So it just depends. So AUD JPY, price didn't sweep this swing high. If you see NZD swept this swing high. So this is like an SMT. I'm sorry. Oh boy. This is like SMT. This is Monday 17th. Go to AUD JPY Monday 17th. So you can see this one actually hold on a bit. SMT. Oh god, sorry. Okay, so you can see this price didn't actually sweep this high, but NZD actually swept this high. So this is like an SMT divergence in NZD JPY and AUD JPY. So AUD JPY seems weaker, and there's no fair value gap again in this leg. NZD JPY, is there a fair value gap? Or you see, there's a tiny bit of fair value gap here. Let me draw it out so you can see very well. There's a tiny bit of fair value gap in the leg. This leg seems stronger than this one over here because there's no fair value gap. So lower prices here is quite okay, very good. Go to daily. Now you can see that the daily is actually having a fair value gap that we can literally trade from. NZD JPY, yes, there's still a fair value gap, but you can see that price literally came to the swing low. But in AUD, the price is not here close to the swing low. But regardless, we can still watch the price. Card CHF, it's just like still lower prices, sweep of previous week high, and this now we just wait for fair value gaps to the downside. That's just what's happening. You can see that price is actually reacting from this 4-hour fair value gap. So from here now we can still look for lower prices. If the 1 hour should be giving prices to the downside, we can still look for lower prices. But regardless, CHF JPY, this is the only pair that we tend to, you see this pair, we've been looking at this pair for like ages. Looking at this pair from this fair value gap, looking at the pair to give higher prices, but the pair just seems doing what I don't understand. It's just like it's consolidating. So I'm not looking at this pair for now. Let me just remove it from my watch list. Euro JPY, nines weekly, swept this swing guy, gave lower prices. This is very, very nice because this is like an engulfing candle closing, just swept these candles and giving this issue. So go to your daily time frame. We want to see price not respecting any PDRA, creating this fair value gap. We want to see price coming into this fair value gap, then we see low prices. So this is, I would take this to the top because this is quite good. So NZD JPY, we can see this is the lowest. So AUD, this, take this down a bit. AUD CHF, AUD JPY, look at this. Yep, card CHF, no, NZD, look at this. Okay, this is all I'll be looking for this week. Uh, if anything changes, probably when I'm uploading my next video or updates, I'll just share you guys and tell you what actually happened. So this will be all for now. Thank you, and I will see you on Sunday.